What makes a good pickup truck? As someone that has been around them all my life but never owned one, I find myself wondering if I was prepared to review an odd truck like this. I have already written the whole script by now, so clearly I mustered up some confidence at some point. But the point of that question was to get you to ask yourself the same question. If you are buying a pickup truck, what purpose is it filling? Are you going to load up the bed on a regular basis? Are you going to be towing with it, off-roading, camping? The Jeep Gladiator is a very clear mix of pickup truck and Jeep Wrangler. If you want a Wrangler but could only get your hands on one of these, your only complaint may be that it takes up a lot of space behind you, thanks to the bed being much longer than the four-door Wrangler's rear cargo area. On the other hand, if you wanted a pickup truck and could only get your hands on one of these, you may have a few more complaints. The most glaring issue is the bed. Or is it? The bed length is 60 inches, which doesn't put it in Ford Explorer Sport Track or Hyundai Santa Cruz territory. The width chosen for this bed keeps the wheel arch from interfering with the bed's surface. With a bed width just shy of 45 inches, it will handle 4x8 drywall or plywood hanging off the back. I was also able to fit bed frame boards in it just barely when put in diagonally like this. If you don't buy a bed cover, there's a little bit of room in the back passenger area to store stuff that you want locked away. Well, unless you have the convertible top down. Speaking of, yes, this is a convertible pickup truck. When was that last done? The Chevy SSR? Yeah, if you specifically want a brand new convertible with a truck bed, this is your only option right now. And the first time that you've had that option at all in a while. The suspension feel on this truck is quite nice. The newest truck-like thing that I have experience with is this 2021 Toyota 4Runner, and I know that doesn't have a truck bed, but it is a body-on-frame vehicle. And it has suspension behavior that I remember my father's 97 Ford F-150 had. The Jeep Gladiator doesn't have that sloppy body-on-frame feel. The suspension is a little on the firm side, but not uncomfortably so. It does all this on tires with thick sidewalls, so it's not like they've firmed up the ride with big wheels and little sidewalls that are useless for off-roading. I drove multiple 45-minute trips because I borrowed this to move some furniture, and I didn't have any comfort issues. While the suspension feels good, the interior does not. The turn signal in particular feels and sounds like a brittle piece of plastic snapping every time the turn signal stalk moves to another position. Ew. Now, this does use better materials than the parent company at the time, Chrysler, was using in the early 2000s. However, I feel like they still have a lot of catching up to do to their global competition. I'm not expecting top-tier luxury from a Jeep pickup truck, but my 2018 Crosstrek has better interior fit and finish, and that started at about 2/3 the cost, or $10,000 less. Now, some of the interior is good, but what I'm specifically calling out quality-wise are the frequently handled interior components. Handles, dials, buttons, the stuff that is the background experience of the vehicle that you don't actively think about, but gives a vehicle its character. I almost forgot to include the seat and legroom comfort in this review because it was remarkably average. Forgetting about that being a concern is perhaps a good sign. If you're thinking about it and it's not about how great it is, there's an issue. One last thing about the interior is the roof. It's a convertible, so you'll hear a lot of the outside world even with the top up. Driving under bridges is when you will really notice this. I spent some time with this truck as a daily driver for a while, in addition to borrowing it for specific work, and it was a good experience overall. It had responsive steering for a truck, and even though it might not have had a lot of displacement, it manages to make more power with less literage than the 4Runner, a difference I could really feel getting on the highway. I could see myself being happy with a Jeep Gladiator as a long-term daily driver vehicle, since the complaints I had with the interior are not deal-breaker level issues. The miles per gallon you get with it is nothing special one way or the other in the world of pickup trucks. You'll get a lot less out of your fuel if you're expecting V8 power, and you'll only get decent mileage if you're used to a 4-cylinder without forced induction. Let's look at the 5 factors for the Simplified score. Styling is above average, but it's not going to turn heads like a supercar, so that's a 6 out of 10. Performance is a little weak in the power department, but it makes up for that with great handling in its class, giving it a 4 out of 10. Comfort on this one is probably the most divisive, as it will be great for some folks and not great for others. But for me, it was a very average 5 out of 10. I was expecting this to get a poor score in utility, but after spending some time with it, it earned a respectable 7 out of 10. Quality was where I was least impressed, but it was only interior issues that were fit and finish concerns, so it earned a 4 out of 10 here too. Is 26 out of 50 a good score? You'll have to see more reviews because this is the first vehicle I've reviewed since developing it. If I had to guess, I'd say this is going to be a pretty average score. Jeep built a really great enthusiast vehicle here, but really missed the mark by not offering a big V8 option. Stellantis, the company that currently owns Jeep, also owns Dodge, so it's not like they don't have V8 options. Without that big power option, they are definitely missing some sales with this. But what they do have is a decent all-around pickup truck disguised as a quirky enthusiast vehicle. I feel like a lot of the modern big American pickup trucks are all about conveying some mechanical interpretation of hard work. They're trying to capture that sense of, I work hard so I can play hard, and they completely miss the second half. Perhaps we've all forgotten about the second half. Well, the Jeep Gladiator hasn't.